Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. This is a little breeding project I've got going on inside Starters Orders. Um, and yeah, I'm doing this to try and see if I can get one or two horses to improve the main two series we're currently doing, and to kind of hone in on different attributes that we've currently got in the barn and do things a slightly different way. So I figured as I'm playing through it, I might as well record it and just kind of talk you through some things. And yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling more conversational than kind of gamey right now. And that I'm not really as fussed with playing games. It's more kind of just a bunch of thoughts in my head. So I figured maybe I'll talk about some of those as we play through and intersperse it with what we're doing in game and whatnot. But I feel like getting to know some people more. So at the moment, I'm very much in a musical kind of frame of mind and headspace. And yeah, I kind of like a lot of different types of music. And I've always said that I can listen to any song at least once and find something I like about it. And that has been proven wrong over the years. It definitely has. Genres that I'm really not a fan of would be extremes, really, like Norwegian black death metal, screamo. Um, and even then, there's going to be exceptions within those genres that I do like. Um, Boy bands, girl bands, manufactured synthetic bubblegum pop kind of stuff. I've just never got on with. Again, there's exceptions within all that as well. Um, but I stopped listening to music probably in the top, the top 40s and top 100 new music in about 2010 ish, I want to say. And I've kind of sat back with the older music. There's some 50s I like, 60s. Very rare, but there is stuff there. Then 70s, especially late 70s, I think is just so many. What I would say is classic rock these days isn't even classic rock anymore. Um, yeah, sadly, classic rock is kind of like mid to late 90s stuff, which hurts my soul. But hey, we're all getting older, right? We're all getting older. We're all going through that transition. And if you're not yet, you'll get there. You'll get there. Um, so, yeah, be prepared for that. But yeah, all the way through the 80s and 90s, many different genres. I always thought I really didn't like country music, and I've come to appreciate so much good country music as well, which is just something we don't really have growing up in the UK throughout the 80s and 90s when I was, forming my musical tastes. So, one thing I want to talk about is a little bit of kind of music in general and why I like music, but also get your opinions on music and what are maybe a handful of songs that you think other people should listen to. And leave them down in the comment section down below if you will. Doesn't matter what genre, doesn't matter what time period, no reasons for anything. I'm okay with different languages and etc. Like, I don't matter. One of my favorite songs, um, or a couple of my favorite songs over the last 5, 10 years are Chinese songs, which is kind of strange for me. There's a couple of big Indian tracks that I quite like, and some African language beats that I kind of like. The Afro Caribbean mixture's been kind of interesting to dip your toes into. I've never dived fully into it, so it doesn't matter what genre, male, female, old, young, any decade, any genre, any reason. Serious songs, comedy songs, scary songs, whatever. I kind of want to see what other people have attached to. Because I do think music attaches to emotions, and that kind of is something I've been thinking about more over time, and like, why am I attached to starters orders? And it's because I'm able to breed different horses together and get myself a certain foal that you then kind of fall in love with. And for me, that's always been, the Triple Crown winners going for the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. And then now we got World Cup shots and we got the chance to get 140s. And I'm dipping my toes into the UK jump scene. But, it's really built on that and my love for Secretariat in general and the Kentucky Derby in general. And so that's kind of where it comes from. And that's my attachment to this game, as well as the management slash development aspects of the game. And that's something I carry through into a lot of games. So that those attachments are key. And music doesn't directly attach to that, but it attaches to other moments and other emotions. And if I listen to certain songs, it doesn't matter how I was feeling before them, I'm gonna feel them. Uh, you know, feel a different emotion afterwards. I think it's very powerful, and I think everybody should enjoy them. So, yeah, I kind of want to see what those beats are for people and what the attachments are. Um, and I've been in a bad mood the last couple of days, like a really depressive mood, and just apathy and everything else that hits me from time to time. Part of my mental health journey has been kind of exploring it when it happens, not trying to fight it as much, not trying to avoid it, but kind of sitting in it and feeling it and understanding it and like being able to let it pass through and not consume me. I think I'm pretty happy that I'm able to do that, but music is a major factor in that for me. And earlier today, the reason why I'm in a musical mood is because I was, the last couple of days I've been that way, and earlier today. And then I just started listening to different kinds of music. I listened to some sad, depressing kind of music because I wanted to be in that moment with it. And then different music, and it kept progressing. A little bit more upbeat, a little more up tempo, a little more positivity. We've ended up with some some like high speed hard rocking music that like is has pumped me up completely to where I'm totally different kind of frame of mind, the mood set to where I've been. So I do think it's interesting. Um, I really do think music is very interesting and something that's always going to have slightly unique attachments for different people to different kinds of music or time periods or events within their lives. So if you're willing to share, I'd love to find some new music and kind of get suggestions from you because I've listened to an absolute ton of music over the years, like I say, from everywhere. Um, and just, yeah, I'm interested to see what I've missed, even if it's 2010 to modern day, 99% of which I've missed on purpose. Um, but yeah, if it's not like Norwegian death metal screamo or mumble rap, I'm probably going to be okay. Even if it's classical, I'm fine. There's quite a lot of classical I like. Um, so yeah, all that being said, leave your suggestions in the comment section. And yeah, as part of this series of a breeding save, and as I'm just doing this in the background, I'd love to be able to listen to that music and kind of like give feedback on those tracks and kind of see music from a new viewpoint. So yeah, if you're interested in something like that, let me know. Give me a few tracks, and I'll be more than happy to delve on in because it's a big part of my life. I'm sure music in general is a big part of a lot of people's lives, and I kind of want to go on a bit of a journey there with you as well. Like this whole channel's a journey, and so I really think that would be kind of cool to do. So let me know what you think. Um, Jumping into this game a little bit, we got some 2-year olds. They're pretty decent. So yeah, Shy Overseer is someone that we've had on our transfer list for a while. Just one of the 1-year olds that was sitting around, and they're pretty decent. It's kind of like baseline of a horse that I'm looking for right now. So this is kind of the baseline we want to improve off. It's someone as a 2-year old should be able to fill their potential at least 80%. I'm looking for cruising bursts more around 40%, not 25. So we're a little low there. But I do think we'll be able to breed that in with some of the others we've got. Um, a lot of extra speed, a full finish, and a full consistency. I'm really trying to get back to a point where we've got full consistency bars, because I think a lot of my problem with my horses in starters orders recently has been consistency. 100% has been just not really knowing what they're going to do race to race. And horses like Hara are kind of key in this, where wins the Derby, second in the Preakness, second in the Belmont, should probably be top 2 in the Pegasus World Cup as a 4-year old. Gets blocked off, everything comes fourth, and then just the next 2 races, the Saudi Cup and the Dubai World Cup, don't really go our way. And we don't even look close. And that's a number of things. That's confidence, that's enthusiasm. It's just bad luck in the race. It's mismanagement of distances or jockey instructions by me. There's a lot that plays into it. But it's that inconsistency that really kind of strips away my belief in a horse super quickly. And that kind of makes it very difficult then. I start overthinking too much. Or I try to stop overthinking, and so I just like try and brute force it. And neither one's a good way to do it, because it's not going to improve the results. So, yeah, I'm trying to breed consistency in. I'm also going to be doing multiple breeding saves, probably with the same horses as the starting points, because I do believe that different countries have different qualities. I will say America in general has a lot more extra speed than other countries from saves that I've seen. It's a lot easier to breed an extra speed horse in America. Conversely, it's generally easier to build cruising burst from what I've seen in the UK. Now, this might just be confirmation bias and everything else. Your mileage may vary. But that's kind of what I've felt and what I've seen over the years through Stars Order 6 and 7. It may not be true. It may just be the way my games are. But since I've played mainly in America, it's always been that I've had a lot more extra speed than anything else. I will say that the few times I've had big horses with like a ton of battling qualities, there's been the odd one here or there that wasn't. But about 80 to 90% of my horses that have had at least 50% battling qualities and were good elsewhere have all been Australian. So I'm really wondering if that is a thing or not, or if it's just something that's just my experience with it. You can weigh in on that in the comments as well. But I'm kind of thinking that I should be doing a save in each of the countries as a breeding save with the same initial breeding stock. And that can also give us a chance to compare the bloodlines we build in each of those 4 saves. Maybe 6 saves if we do jumps in UK and Ireland as well as flat breeding saves. So we could have 6 saves and compare the breeding stock from all of them and really see if there are those trends of who is better at producing high battling qualities, cruising burst, extra speed, distance adaptability, etc. We can take a look at that. So I think that's kind of very interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to you. But yeah, that's going to be part of what I'm doing in this series of these breeding saves. And Shy Overseer is from America, I believe. He may be a British horse, but that British save is also heavily seeded by American horses, so it would skew it in either direction. Yeah, the other thing with different countries, again, just because of the default racing schedules that are in the game and the races that are available on those, I think you're gonna get more sort of mile 4 horses in UK. That's kind of where I see a lot of good horses sit at about mile 4. You see on the flats, you see a lot of mile 2s being the sweet spot for American saves, and a lot of miles well. Anywhere in that range of mile to a mile 2. The UK, I think, is a mile 2 to a mile 4. And then Australia is where I see a lot more distance horses. So, again, there may be something into that, and we can see how much each of those saves compares with their distances as well. And that may give us an insight of if we're looking for certain attributes and or distances, where is the best place to set up our breeding saves? And then if we are highlighting different attributes, we breed one country's stars and studs with another's until we kind of get the actual monster horses. And just like, how good of a breeding program can we actually get going if we fully, properly focus on it? And so I kind of wanted to highlight Shy Overseer, like I say, because this is probably the weakest of all my horses that are going into this breeding program. So it is full consistency, full finish, at least 80% extra speed, and at least maxed out 80% potential as a 2-year-old. Those are kind of the minimums. The other minimum, like I say, is probably 35 to 40% cruising burst, probably 35. Because of some of the horses, I just don't have a lot in my breeding stock. So that is something we're definitely going to be looking for. But yeah, this is below that, which is why Shy Overseer is our worst. Every other horse I have renamed, you might recognize them, you might not, but I've renamed and basically I've just done alliteration. So the other 2-year-olds we've got are Freedom Freighter, and again, that 80%, we've got the 40% cruising burst, we've got 85 extra speed, we've got full finish and consistency. Like, this is far more kind of what I think our floor should be. But I had Overseer, so I've thrown them into the mix as well. But Freedom Freighter is someone I think could be a really good horse to breed from and be like that starting point to iterate that next generation of horses. I think he's set up really quite well. And then someone that won their maiden the first time, the schedule I'm using, by the way, is PJR's worldwide UK schedule. And yeah, it's kind of lined up so that your 2-year-old is kind of schedule's very limited. But what you do is you win a maiden, which there's a lot of races early on at 5, and it builds up over distances over the course of the year. But you start at 5, and then basically you hit novice races. Now, Charlie was the only one to win their maiden, The second time of asking, I had to run 5 again for both the others. I ran with jockey instructions to challenge earlier. They won by 4 or 5 lengths. So rather than wait for a 6, I decided I should do things properly for a change, which I'm sure a couple of you, or more than a couple, will be delighted to hear. But I finally put my money where my mouth is and kind of decided, yeah, if we're doing it properly, we've got to do it properly. So I did the jockey instructions, and unsurprisingly, it worked. Um, Charlie didn't need that. He's just been running quite well. Not a huge win in the maiden, but the novices just completely dominated that one, and then a nice win in that one too. So definitely a very, very good horse. And again, cruising burst from that 35 to 40 mark. A lot of extra speed, a lot of potential, and that full finish and consistency. Everything else is kind of a bonus if we have it. But another really good young horse to kind of kick off a proper breeding program. So we got those two, and in the breeding barn, Social Scarab is a little more hit and miss for sure. She's in kind of as a control to see how much it really matters with their finish and consistency. If they've got a lot more cruising burst or battling qualities, if we got rid of these, how much is that going to affect things? So she's in. Night Narwhal is a very good horse that kind of hits our needs. And I'm not racing any of the fillies. They're all going into the barn. So we can see what happens. Tailspin doesn't have consistency, but has a lot of other things. Happy Huntress, again, kind of fits that baseline of what we're actually looking for. We got the Violet Variable, who, again, I think looks pretty good. Doesn't really have the surface adaptability. I don't know how that's going to play in. King Keepsake is another low consistency horse. We do have a lot of low consistency horses for sure. Panther Pulitzer looks like this. And yeah, it's just one of the tuyos, but again, a nice looking filly that we can probably breed really well from. And yeah, if we've bought a horse, or if we've kind of had one at the start of the game, we haven't renamed it, and that's why they're not all named differently. But again, a pretty solid horse. Charmer Traffic, I think, again, sort of doesn't hit everything we want. It's a little low on cruising burst and whatnot, but everybody's kind of where we want them to be. There aren't that many falls. We did breed with Penavan, yeah, Penavan Man. And so our first yearling that we saved is Belle Etoile, who has a maxed out stamina bar, which I love. And also, yeah, looks really good. It's over that 20% I've been looking for. But it's not an automatic disqualification because over 2 years we should get to 90. So at least as a 3-year-old, we should have 90. The extra speed is lower, but we do have a lot of cruising bursts, and so that will kind of weigh in a little bit on the argument of which one is actually better, and is it better to have more cruising burst over distance? And the fact that she's got a lot of cruising burst and a lot of stamina, I feel kind of matches up. So this is the first one that we've kept, and Violent Variable is the only mare that's produced a foal worth keeping so far. So I'm also want to keep an eye on that too. And then just a bunch of other ones I'm not going to roll through, but you can pause and see. But they're all kind of similar in those same attributes we're looking for, and some are just like high across the board. And how much of that will factor in? And then also looking at it from a point of view that, okay, maybe it doesn't look like the best horse, but outperforms someone that's got great bars. And there's that hidden quality rating that we never see and we never know. Like, is that higher in some bloodlines? And then if they perform really well on the track, we should probably, keep breeding from those ones. So we get everyone with good bars and just breed from the ones that outperform the rest. And again, cream rises to the top, and we should just be keeping that hidden variable really high as much as we can. And the bars we can see, we can try and manipulate as much as possible to get the best horses out of it. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea. Everyone's got some kind of weakness or something that doesn't quite fit. There's very few that nail everything. But just the quality of these horses in general and the promise that I think each of them has should put us in a really good place with this breeding save. And I've never stacked a breeding save with this much talent up front and being this selective. So, yeah, I think that's very interesting. Like I say, we're going to race the 2-year-olds and kind of see what they're like, and maybe as 3 and 4 as well. And then we're going to take them into the breeding barn and decide who we're breeding from. But like I say, there aren't that many options at all. Like, at all. So that's going to develop over time. But the first one that hit the breeding barn that looked really, really good was Aztec Warrior. So the first season we went with the one that was the highest fee, and also had very good distance, and that was Penavan Man. So I'm pretty happy to see them. I also did a year and reset back with Captivity and with Grandeur. Neither one of those were good. Penavan had very high levels, but only one of those 6 falls, I think. Yeah, the 6 falls that we had from these 6, only one made it, and it was from Violent Variables. So right now, we're breeding with Aztec Warrior, and we're doing our best to kind of race these as much as we can and get them fully maxed out. But Shy Overseer is the one that needs to hit their potential. I don't think there's going to be graded races until late in the year, but it's all about just getting the wins early on with them. So, yeah, that's kind of a roundup of the save as well. So, a little touch on the music to begin with. And a little bit here on these. We're going to keep an eye on the sales as well, because I have already gone through and highlighted all of these horses. If they do come up for auction, we are going to be able to see a little bit about them. So, yeah, could be very interesting. Could be very interesting, but we are going to be keeping an eye on the sales. Sorry, Captivity didn't do anything for me. The fact that they won the Gold Cup kind of makes me just want to take a risk on the 2-year-olds. Could you just be under distance? Yes. Could you just be under distance? Yes, but you're in a bunch of novels. Like, I don't know. I think it's just kind of worth, again, early on, putting some bids in and kind of seeing if there is anything out there that we can grab early and introduce, or just learn from. And it is kind of random, but there's always a chance that good horses are hiding in the auction, even if there's no indicators for it. We all want indicators, we all look for indicators, but there's just no real way of judging. And so, I think just buying the 4. Oh, we only got 3 out of the 4. Oops. Wasn't paying attention. Yeah, it doesn't look like much. Not great. Was almost nothing to buy. Similar to that one, it was a little more expensive to buy, like 10 times the amount. And then what, 5 times the amount almost? Four to 5 times the amount was Solo Rose, who is also the same kind of horse. So, yeah, not really anything I think to kind of dwell on there. But I am going to be looking to see if anything comes at an auction that we want. Looks like Aztec Warrior has been snapped up immediately because there's no horses available. That's fine. I will go to the Endure. And again, a 3-year-old from captivity. I mean, we'll take a look, but just a horse that hasn't really done anything on a breeding point of view, and that's another really disappointing one. Not a ton to look forward to. So yeah, we can safely ignore captivity at this stage. I will say that. Okay, so it looks like we've lost our 2-year-old crown. Because someone's probably just won a race, and that's absolutely fine. Distances we're probably still holding. There's still no group races, so we are going to be set in novices. I think everybody ran their distance last time, so I think I want to continue that. Trying to keep, again, 2 weeks between each race and wait until we're told that they shouldn't be racing anymore. Why can't you race? Why can't they race novice? Not a novice or juvenile. Because they've won 2 novices. I'm not really sure how this works. I've got to be honest with you, and this is a new... This is a new schedule for me. I've downloaded it, but I've never really tried it. So how aren't they allowed to do novices? If you know, let me know. Yeah, we've won 2 novices. Does that mean that when or if these 2 win these novices, they will no longer be able to run? Or is it a rating thing where, because we're 99 rated, we're too high or something like that? I don't know. If I select Charlie, is there anything that he'll be able to run at all at any distance? Or is he just done for the year? He's done for the year, according to the game. Okay. There's the CUDA sprint. Is that everybody? Because I'm pretty sure there's grades at the end. Huh. That's very interesting. So that's for fillies at 2 years old. Is that the only 2-year-old grade? I haven't really examined this, but I've always read good things on the forums about it. So maybe it's a bit balked because of how we've set things up and the fact we're playing it on modded when it's a default game schedule. If so, that's on me, but absolutely fine. Okay, well, we don't really have anything to do then. we don't really have anything to do. Freedom Freighter does get a win, and it's another solid win. So it likes 4 lengths. It kind of came fourth and then has won by 4 lengths on his distance or with adaptability. And if I'm right, that just means no matter what, there's no more races for you. I guess that's all you do as a 2-year-old on this schedule then. You win 2 novice races and a maiden, and you're kind of done after 3. That's so interesting. If I'd have realized that, then these 2-year-olds would have probably gone out and raced those 3 races rather than being in 4 right now. Yeah, that's interesting. So Aztec Warrior, we're definitely interested to see Winter Dress because that's who we're breeding from. That might give us some small idea. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah. I think we ignore the captivity. I really don't want to because of the distance, but I think Pin Seeker as well. So Reach Out and Winter Dress should be the 2 that I'm really interested in. And then looking at money, there's a few others that look okay, but really nobody fully stands out. So we're going to see if we can figure out a little bit about these horses. Yeah, just see what they look like. And is it still not worth buying from an auction? But if we do find good horses or good sires, then I think it's always worth the risk. How much we got to get? 12, so we're already over. We're good. So let's get out of the auction. Reach out. So that's Pin Seeker. Not the best. And Aztec Warrior. Not the best. Okay. A little disappointing, since we are, like I say, breeding quite heavily from them. But if that's what it is, then that's what it is. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Shy Overseer. We win by 5 lengths because we're on distance and we're a really good 2-year-old. Cool. Did not fill that potential. Did not fill that potential. Is it close enough? I don't think so. So yeah, no, they may be done for the year. They may be done for the year. That's kind of strange. Okay, we're straight into Totally Yours. We've got to get rid of all the game breds that need breeding. And then just breed our own. And if you haven't seen a breeding save before, this is pretty much what it is your breeding as quickly as you can with the best horses, and then just skipping to the end of the season. Yeah. Low number of sires means a lot more breeding. Like Aztec Warrior is breeding with multiple horses at the same time there. You can see game is kind of cheating. But it doesn't matter because we're only in May. As soon as Aztec Warrior opens up, and there we go. We're in. Let's make sure everyone's in full. Beautiful. We're in play. Cool. Sovereignty. Yeah, but we're going to try and buy. Not because we think we're good, but because we need a mule to start skipping. And you're the first name on the list. And are you any good? I mean, as cheap as he was, He's as good or better than most of the other horses we've actually bought at auction. So I can't be too mad at that, to be fair. Can't be too mad. So we can move into handicaps with these. Okay, I guess that's the next stage. There's a 5 furlong and a 7 furlong handicap. Is anyone stepping up? Probably not. Should I oversee a needs a run? And so I'm going to book the 7. Charlie runs at 5, so Charlie should be there. High weight, but should be there. Why is our jockey not being booked? Because I haven't auto-retained them. That's about as good as I could get a jockey. I couldn't get one with full skill that was any good elsewhere. And our apprentice isn't bad. Apparently, I haven't booked them on though, so that's on me, but I should be able to do so. There we go. And I guess Freedom Freighter can wait, and we can skip with Sovereignty when we're ready to skip, but I guess we don't need to do that. But yeah, since everything is basically set up, we can skip, and if anything goes to auction, does one a grade 1, we will know about it. I'm a little worried about these races. But Charlie is going to be right at the top of this handicap. 99 rated is for up to 100, so just about eligible to race in this. Looks great, hasn't hit his max races for the season. Should win. No need for a jockey instruction here, I don't think, because we've been running at 5 and 5 has been suiting. We've been winning at distance, so now we got to see how the handicap plays out. And this is actually the first race I've watched in this save, so we will see. But no 5 furlong handicap, up to 100 rated for the 2-year-olds on dirt. And the first chance we get to see Charlie Cheeseburger. Not the best of starts. How'd you run, Charlie? You put one leg in front of the other. Cool. No, front runner, stalker. Yeah, front runner. And got into the lead, pushing out inside the final furlong, driving to the line, not even letting the closers chase you down too much. So, yeah, carrying that extra weight doesn't matter. Charlie is a very good horse, 6 3/4 lengths. Yeah, definitely the star of the class so far, right? Definitely the class star. I love that for us. I love that for us. Unbeaten in 4 then, so the maiden, the 2 novices, and the handicap, and everything's gone our way. Like I say, the cruising burst is almost at 40% where we want it. Half bar enthusiasm, 70% confidence, the full finish and consistency, 85 extra speed, and over 80 as a 2-year-old maxed out potential. So it's got absolutely everything we're looking for, plus a little extra in places. If we could add battling qualities into this, like increase the cruising burst up to 50, battling qualities up to 50, and get like the enthusiasm up to a 70, maybe extra speed up to a 90 and potential up to a 90 at the end of their 2-year-old season. Like I think that could be the end goal of this breeding save. And then we'll just have monsters. It's been a long time since I've had a true monster. But everything I see and the way Charlie's built and the way he races, it does feel very early on like this could be the bloodline. And I've got no idea which transfer list this horse came off, by the way, or who it is, or if we've bred it from anyone in particular. I've got no idea. I just know this is pretty much the best male yearling I could find. which is nuts. But yeah, there's also some good ones on here. Most of these came in the second season, but like, yeah, they're pretty good. I'm pretty sure Charlie was just the number one. So interesting. Yeah, so we should be running at 6. We should like 6. We're going for 7, which means we do need to adjust. And so jockey instructions are going to come out. Don't trail and challenge later because we're trying to find extra distance. Yeah, we will be top weight because of our rating, but we should also be better quality than this field. And it looks like a bunch of them are so low weight that their jockeys are way too heavy. So there is that. Okay, you got a decent jockey, so yeah, you got a big weight advantage. You're the closest quality horse to us. You're the form horse. You are a little laid back. You are tipped and very calm, not lazy. So, yeah, interesting as the favorite. I can see now why they are the favorite, but we're going to try and extend our distance up to 7, and we'll see how it goes. But first real test. Being off distance in the first maiden doesn't count. We've won every other race apart from those two. And so we have a little 7 furlong here for Shy Overseer, and Froggy Lane is the only real challenger. And it will be the two of us on this near side. We are going to go to the front and go to a stalking position against the rail. We're going to drop back to the pack. We're not. We're going to want to stalk. Good. That's what I like to see. I think closers might actually be super powerful in a lot of cases. I just don't enjoy watching them run. You can see Froggy and some others making a move up. And then we're inside 1.5 furlong. And Shy is going to take over. And those jockey instructions are going to come in super useful to take this one. Not a big win, but it is a win in circumstances that should be fairly difficult to win from. And so I'm kind of good with that. I'm kind of good with that. I'm okay with that. I don't hate that. Is kind of what I'm saying. Yeah, a couple of claiming races, handicap races. It's kind of what I think most of these end of race days auctions are like. Not really something that we'd want to see. Really need to get Freedom Freighter a race. I mean, they're also going to have to come up. What are the conditions? Okay. So not one class 2 or higher, which we haven't done. I'm very confused by the runs and wins. Because it looks like we should have less than or equal to -1 runs and -1 wins. If I'm reading that correctly, which is really strange. And if it was less or equal to only 1 run or less or equal to only 1 win, then we wouldn't be able to run. And we're obviously able to run, it appears in the list. So, yeah, that's really kind of confusing. I don't know why they would be there. So maybe the only condition really is not one class to a higher, and this is just how this is written to show you that the -1, it doesn't matter. It doesn't actually apply. It just seems weird. Don't know if it's supposed to be that way or not, but it seems a little strange. Okay, well, the handicap, I think, is a good place for Freedom Freighter to go in. And yeah, you've won a class 2 because you won the handicap. So we can't put you in that and can't put Shy Overseer in that. That's fine. Did we max out our potential? No. No, we didn't. And we're close over it. And well, we're going to throw probably one more at it because we are going to try and get that potential. But yeah, it might not be what we want to do. That's fine. Are there any other sales I really want to look at? Not unless something shows up. I mean, that's just what it is. Unless something enters one of those auctions, don't feel the need to really look at them. So Freedom Freighter then should be another difficult one. So we've jumped up to 7 or a mile. We don't know kind of roughly where we're at, but we're roughly on distance. Breeding indicator and this bar could mean we're actually perfectly on distance. We might be a touch over under. We don't really know. But I don't need to do jockey instructions for it until we find out more. We're lower down in the order. There's a bunch of horses that are quite high rated, good form, for sure. And we're all in this together. So, interesting. We do get tipped. A couple of them look really good. One is very calm. That's the only one in the field. I like where we're at. I think this is a good test for us. And I do like this horse. I do think this is a very, very good horse. So, unless we're not on distance here, I do feel that we actually have a really good chance. So, and I have noticed the invisible rails and everything. That's just whatever at this point. Not really something I worry about. But it looks like we are maybe a closer than with Freedom Freighter. We have gone to the back. We are making our way up, and then just that outrageous turn of speed and pushing out at the end. So yeah, it does look like maybe the three we've got a front runner, we've got a stalker, and we've got a closer. So a little something for everybody. But that's impressive. That's impressive. We hit what looked to be the toughest field. We went to the back. We became a closer. And we just went and dominated anyway. Like, I can't say much more than that, really, can I? That is phenomenal. That is absolutely phenomenal. That's 4 wins on all 3 of my 2-year-olds. The initial distance issue with Shy Overseer and Freedom Freighter, like, we resolved that initially, and they've got their maiden win, and now they've got their 2 novice wins and their first handicap, which is the same as Charlie Cheeseburger, apart from Charlie didn't need that second go at a maiden. He won his first time. So, yeah. I like these a lot. I like these a lot. Might not be the best schedule. Maybe I've messed up on making it a start it mod game with this schedule, which wasn't designed for it. But that's fine. Breeding saves can be really short term as well. And the best thing is, we're coalescing all of these good horses into a smaller list of even better yearlings. Yeah. That's the hope. So to see another breeding save, instead of needing 2 years to get all the horses in, I could do it all in one by just handpicking the best that we've got. So horses like Belle Etoile, maybe. So to see the next save. That could be interesting to see how that works out. That could be interesting to see how that works out. Um, yeah, okay, cool. What races are we able to do? Conditions. So what's the conditions there? They're just don't seem to be conditions. Okay. Um, so a little 7 furlong, we'd have to come up, but we have come up with the jockey instructions and felt pretty good. So that's not too bad. Again, we'd have to come up a lot here. I think maybe that's a good test for Charlie. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Kind of feel like I want to try it. I also feel like I don't know if I want to try it. Um, yeah, I am undecided, Charlie. You've been running at 5. You've been winning at distances. You could be a 6. You're probably not a 6, but you could be. So do we run a 7? 'Cause if we can get a 7, if I'm right in thinking this, with that small distance adaptability, if we can run this 7 and we win, either we're super high quality, which we kind of are, or there's a chance that Charlie was a 6 furlong anyway and was just winning at 5 furlong because he's that good. Like that kind of makes sense to me. Both ways round. And I kind of feel like it's slightly important. It may be slightly important. Can't remember if I put an over raced horse into the field. Does that bring it back from being over raced? I can't remember. I think we'll just leave them for now. Well, actually, no. We'll put her out the grass because there's always that chance. Charlie Kempton. Okay. The 7 furlong conditions race. Stamina says we shouldn't get there, so don't trail. Challenge later. See, the problem is I really just want to see if he can do it without jockey instructions, because that would mean he's an even better horse. But the safe play is to do the jockey instructions. That's always kind of my battle. I kind of want to see the true horse. Yeah, I challenge latex where 5 furlong trying to go to 7 with no adaptability. Yeah, the quality might bridge a furlong or so, which would put us up to 6, unless we're already at 6, and then we should get another furlong or so out of the jockey instructions, and probably half a furlong or so out of our distance adaptability. So the range is kind of covered. I think a lot more safely with the jockey instructions. We will be tipped. We will be favourite. We look good. Nobody looks bad. I think we just go ahead and run this little conditions race. Oh my god, we've got fences at Campton, and we will see with Charlie goes towards the front and then drops back to kind of stalk. Needs to make a move on the bend and is doing so. See, when we try and go, we're trying to go there. and it is really good pace, and you can see just chewing up the ground and going down the home stretch. Final furlong marker clear, and even though we should be running out of stamina, we're winning by some distance and outpacing the entire field. Looked like the final kind of 10 or 12 strides, we did lose that stamina a lot. So we probably, I would say, do lie more in the 5 to 5.5 furlong range than 6. But yeah, we did cover the ground that we wanted to cover there. Won by over 4 lengths again. So we can't complain about any of that either. But Charlie just, yeah, looks really, really, really good. So I don't know. I'll see if this does change in the field over the next month or so. But if not, 5 runs out of everybody, 4.5 out of 2 because their maidens weren't at the right distance, basically. And just perfect from then. And Charlie has been perfect the entire time. Maiden, 2 novices, a handicap, and a conditions. You can see maiden, 2 novices, a handicap, no conditions for freighter. And overseer, again, maiden, 2 novices, handicap, no conditions. But I think this schedule is definitely built to funnel you on a direct path. No matter how good you are as a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, everybody progresses the exact same way, and it's very much more regimented. That as you progress through the season, different types of races and distances will unlock to build that same path. There's no thinking, there's no complicated nature. You just do as you're told, and very much more of like a factory production line. So, yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, this is where we're going to leave it. So let me know those music recommendations in the comment section down below. Particular songs, performances, bands, artists, genres, just whatever it may be. Leave them down below. I would love to get into them and talk about them as we progress over these breeding save series. But yeah, like I say, I think we've got some good 2-year-olds racing right now. And really, they're not racing for any prestige or to win any big events in general. What they're actually racing for is to be the horse that we breed from and prove that they're worth breeding from. So, yeah, we got a ton of good fillies in the breeding barn. We're going to expand that as we can over time and just keep feeding all the foals back into it and just, condense those bloodlines down into the most perfect examples we can from the stock that we started with. And all the colts are going to race and figure out who's going to become the next stud. So, yeah, hope you'll enjoy this series. I think I'm going to enjoy it. It's a little break away from the main series, a little something different, a different way to think about things and refocus my attention on things that I've neglected or become too complacent with in terms of what traits I'm trying to breed in, rethinking some of the distances and the way I judge distances, the jockey instructions, and just breeding those monster horses with different statistics that I'm usually looking at. So, a nice way for me to do things a little differently and just benefit my gameplay and my other saves quite a lot. So, let me know what you think, comment section down below. While you're there, please do smash like and subscribe. Yeah, I hope you can enjoy. Thank you for being on the journey. Until we meet again, I'll see you soon. Take care, stay safe, all the very best. Check out the other playlists. Check out the memberships. And yeah, we're growing this community. And I want to get to know more of you as we grow. Because I feel I knew a lot when we were a small community. But as we continue to grow, I do want to get to know even more people and build that proper community feel. So Have your say comment section down below, and let's get things going.